LA isn't exactly the Emerald City, but there is someone here who remembers making a trip to Oz. Actress Fairuza Balk. In 1985, at the tender age of 9, she took on the lead role in the sequel to one of the most beloved movies of all time, The Wizard of Oz.
I know that they went through all of America and Canada into Europe. They, like, tens of thousands of children. First of all, I went to a cattle call in Vancouver, which is like 300 children, and some of us got to go on tape. I was lucky. I went on tape with Mike Fenton, and then they cut it down to 12 girls, brought us all out to LA, did more screen tests. Then it cut down to 2 girls, and we went to London, and then it got down to 1 girl, which was me. My mom was there with me, though. So she, every night before I went to bed, we'd sit and look at the scenes for the next day and just memorize them until I had them down for the next day. It was a lot of work, and I think towards the end of the filming, it was a very long shoot, it was about 8 or 9 months. Towards the end of the filming, I got a little tired, and that's when I began to realize it was work. Because it wasn't just, you know, what you wanted to do when you wanted to do it. You had to get up every morning and go and be a professional. And as a child, that's kind of a hard concept to grasp. And you have to get it, you have to grasp it like that. You know, there's no fooling around. You can't not go when you feel like playing, you know. You have to be responsible. I think it makes you an adult very quickly. The books are amazing. The books are really amazing. I've read them, and they're just fascinating stories. It's also the idea of, I think when you're a little kid, especially for children, we all want to have that magical place to disappear to. We all want to be able to go to another world, like a world of fantasy, and we create that for ourselves as children when we play. When we say, oh, you know, now I'm climbing a mountain, and, you know, you're climbing the steps to your back door, you know, or whatever. It's imagination, and it's an extension of that. And so I think for children, as well as for adults, it's like this whole world that represents that to them, you know, which is very important. It's very important to keep that as you grow older and not to forget, because if you lose your imagination, you're like a hollow shell, you know, you lose a big part of your access to your soul, I think. The claymation was post, the animatronics and stuff, that was really kind of at the beginning of that whole time. There was, I can think of, you know, there was The Labyrinth, The Dark Crystal, there was a bunch of those films made with the animatronics, and it was the Jim Henson gang. Brian Henson, the son, was there, and it was wonderful because I knew all the animatronics engineers. So as a kid, it's easier to talk to a chicken, you know, you can just do it and not think about it, you know. But then you've got all the guys, you know, back there telling you jokes through the chicken head, you know, when the camera's not on and stuff. And it was just, it's interesting because people, you know, oh, was it scary at that time or whatever, and it's like you see how all the inner workings of the film work. So you have to understand all the technical aspects to be able to do the job. So in that way, it's not scary or difficult, it's just fun. Walter Murch is a very special man. I mean, I'll end up going on and on for hours, really. I mean, I'm still in touch with him, and he's got to be one of the most interesting, wonderful people that anyone could ever be directed by, because he's very sensitive. He's one of the greatest editors ever, you know. He teaches editing all around the world, sound editing and picture editing. And that's probably what he's, you know, most known for. So he has a very interesting way of perception, you know, and was brilliant working with me as a kid because he could think the way that I did. Instead of having an adult thinking here and a child thinking here, he put himself into my mind so that he could see things like on a par, which really helped me a lot. I felt like an equal with him, instead of feeling like the kid, you know? They all really made me feel like I was part of it and had earned my way, and, you know? So that was